CBS News is now projecting Democratic socialist Melat Kiros has won the Democratic primary in the state's first congressional district. The 29-year-old political newcomer defeated 15-term incumbent Congresswoman Diana DeGette. She is now poised to win this November's general election and become the first Gen Z woman in Congress. Kiros delivered a spirited victory speech to her supporters last night.
Denver voters of all ages, of all races, of all religions sends a clear message. We will not wait!
But that far-left wave didn't stretch across all of Colorado. CBS News projects Democratic incumbent John Hickenlooper defeated Julie Gonzalez in the Senate primary. Gonzalez is a former member of the Democratic Socialists of America. And in the state's race for governor, Colorado Attorney General Phil Weiser is now projected to win the Democratic nomination. He defeated three-term U.S. Senator Michael Bennet. But it remains unclear who Weiser will face off against in November. Barbara Kirkmeyer and Victor Marks are currently neck and neck in the vote count for the Republican gubernatorial primary. All right, let's bring in CBS News Elections and Surveys Executive Director Anthony Salvanto to make sense of what's happening in Colorado. Anthony, good morning. Always great to chat with you. So how big of an upset was what we saw last night in Colorado's first district?
Well, folks who watch us every Wednesday morning will remember we see a lot of surprises these days. And that's really the first point, which is on a basic level, here again, we see a longtime incumbent losing in a primary. Parties are going to have these kinds of arguments and fights. That's number one. The second part of this is a generational story, if you will, and it's related, which is you see a lot of younger Democratic voters who are putting pressure on longtime incumbents. And that's another element of this. For folks outside of the Colorado First who are watching this, it has an impact at the very least, not only on the direction of the Democratic Party, but also on what you'll see in Congress next year, because this happens to be a very reliably blue district.
Well, on that point, the co-chair of the Democratic Socialists of America discussed the appeal of what they offer, democratic socialism, on the takeout last night. Let's hear what they said.
In Congress, they are pretty fed up with the Congress, with Democratic Party leadership that is not representing working class values. So we are organizing for policies that are popular with working class Americans all over the country, for higher wages, universal health care, to cancel student loan debt, and to redirect resources from ICE and militarism to meet our needs right here at home.
So based on what you've seen, Anthony, where in the country does that message from Democratic Socialists resonate?
Well, so far this year, we've seen it largely in cities. And that's perhaps not an accident. We've seen New York, we've seen now Denver. There's been some movement in elements in Los Angeles as well in the mayor's race. One thing here is high growth cities like Denver. A lot of folks are talking about housing, and that's something we see more broadly from people across the political spectrum. Housing costs, affordability costs, all of that are surfacing in this. But the other part of it is when you talk about socialism, we have to unpack that a little bit, because you will see, while most Americans do not have a positive view of the word socialism, whatever it means to them, many Democrats in polling do. In fact, most Democrats in recent polling do. What it means to them when you unpack that is, for them, redistribution of wealth, more equality in their views. And that's important because, larger context again, you see the Democrats effectively running neck and neck with Republicans on economic policy. And so there's a lot of Democrats out there who are putting pressure on their own party to say, offer something different in terms of policy. And that could be one element or one area which is pushing this to prominence.
Something we'll certainly keep a close eye on as we get closer to November. Anthony Salvanto, thanks so much. We learned some new information about President Trump's finances yesterday in his 2025 financial disclosure, and it was a good year for the president's cryptocurrency ventures. Take a look at this. He made more than $1.4 billion from crypto last year. It includes $635 million in royalties from a meme coin launched days before he took office, and more than $500 million in token sales from his family's company, World Liberty Financial. Crypto now dwarfs the money he makes in other ventures, but that's no small sum either. He brought in $77 million from owning Mar-a-Lago and $122 million from his golf club in Doral, Florida. For more on this, we're joined by CBS News White House reporter Aaron Navarro, who's been digging through the filings and the data. Aaron, good morning. Let's begin with crypto. $1.4 billion is such a large amount of money. I think our viewers have a hard time in quantifying it. How did he make that exactly?
Good morning, Errol. I'll start with the meme coin Trump, Dollar Trump that you mentioned, which is pretty